Well, I'm here today to interview Nusrat Ahmed from the Asian Parent Carers group.
We were looking at going independent from our umbrella organisation, and the Dragon's Den actually gave us that last boost to do that, and because of the funding that we're receiving from that, we are now in the process of becoming an independent organisation.
How do you see the future of your project and then the network in light of it?
I think the network supports us a lot. Because we are going to come away from our umbrella organisation, the network has helped us in the fact that we're not going to be on our own, we've still got somebody there to support us. The future for the organisation is to become an independent organisation. Well, what the process that we're going through now will include a business plan. We've actually accessed...
Is this part of the Dragon's Den?
Yes, and because of the Dragon's Den we've accessed some more support, so it's like a package that we'll have now, and that will include the business plan, setting up our own charity. The mentoring support was actually a really good useful tool for us, because I had known Neil from before anyway, but not
this was the mentor who was provided for you by out of the Dragon's Den event. Yeah.
And he's been really helpful. It's just allowed me to sort of knock off my ideas with him, and then he's never actually said do this or do that. He's sort of put it in a way that makes you step back and think, okay, yeah. And I'm actually meeting him tomorrow just to give him an update on what we're doing. But that's been really good, having somebody who is at that level and they're able to advise you.
We're here with Majid, who's the project manager for Youth on Solid Ground, which is based in Wally. What would you say that the difference that the project's made for you and the sort of community you serve?
The difference it's made to me is that I've gained masses of knowledge through the training. The training was aimed at BME groups and bringing BME groups together. So networking with all the different groups, that was a major factor. And the knowledge what I've gained and empowered by it, I've passed that back to my team and the young people we work with. It's helped them develop further as well. We've developed a business plan through the support of Greater Manchester BME Network. We developed a funding strategy, and all that was a learning curve for us and for the organisation. And without that support, I don't think we would have probably been 15-20 years behind. It's given me insight to more knowledge of what's going on, what's going around us, who are the main delivery organisations on the ground, who the council works with, what does the council want, what the commissioners want. So yeah, it has helped us massively for us to understand the politics, the realities on the ground. A mentor assigned to us, so a mentor kind of like supported us all the way through our program, where for the Dragon's Den they give us a set of questions to practice on, basically why we need the funding to help our organisation grow. Yeah, it was competition. At first it was open to 20 organisations, and I think about 11 or 12 actually submitted the sort of like interest. And then you know, we practiced, and the support from Greater Manchester BME Network, you know, in supporting us prepare for the Dragon's Den event was great. And without that support, I don't think we could have done it. The mentor which got matched up was amazing. They had them skills and them answers which we need, and we needed.
It's Michelle Ayavoro, and the organisation I'm working for is Creative Hands Foundation.
Moving on to the Greater Manchester Black and Minority Ethnic Network, what were your expectations when you got involved in that?
My expectations were to get some support and advice about the sector and how to develop and grow as an organisation. We participated in several events, mainly the training which they provide, and it's been a whole breadth of training, from things like social and e-learn no, social media.
Social media, was that?
Social media.
Is that the People's Voice Media?
Yeah. Governance and policies, through budgeting, monitoring, evaluation, and everything that you need for the sector they've provided. And they've also gone on to actually asking us what else could they provide for us, which is a real, fantastic thing, because they're actually meeting individual needs in that capacity.
You participated in what was known as the Dragon's Den event, the Organisation Improvement Programme.
Yes.
How did that go on?
In the Dragon's Den bid, you had to put together a proposal, and it was a great opportunity for BME organisations because it sent you back to the drawing board where you could then take an overview of your organisation, think about your mission, your vision, your values, why you exist, and put that together in a pitch which is very necessary in this current climate to kind of sell yourself to those who you need support from, whether that be financial support or those who you want as clients. So
you didn't feel as a community group sort of a bit nervous or threatened by having to go into something that was actually competitive?
No, I didn't. I saw it as a great opportunity to reflect on who we were, and I was really, really pleased that I had that opportunity to kind of they actually trained you up first, so they equipped us with the skills that we needed, and then we got the chance to trial it in front of this panel who were able to give us that vital feedback which could help us to develop and move on. Okay,
and you were successful?
Yes! Oh, we're really thankful about that, thank God. The business plan is now complete. We've got a 3-year business plan, and when I say complete, to be honest with you, as we know, a business plan is something which is never finished. It's something which you always reflect on, refer back to, and you use that as a way of developing your organisations. It really has put us in a stronger position because it's allowed us to be a competitor in the market, and not just any competitor but a professional competitor. So we are able now to feel confident about who we are, what we're here to do and how we're going to do it. We've felt confident as a team to now go and approach funders. I was speaking to a lady at one of the last conferences, and I was actually telling her I would like to become a member on their board so that I can also offer my experience to other organisations who might be new or who might be small communities.
I am from an organisation called Salford Link Project, based in Eccles, covering the area of Salford. The pinnacle of all the training was the Dragon's Den, taken from the very basic of presentation of talking about your organisation right to the program where you have to pitch to the dragons. But the other trainings, for example, the monitoring and evaluation, essentially, it talks about how to capture data that is relevant for your organizations, communication skills, for example, also the making funding applications. And it still sticks in my mind, one of the things that was conveyed by the trainer was that the BME organizations are very good at upping the numbers in order to attract funding. But in reality, you should have the low numbers so that if you deliver more, then you can show we have 100% success. We were, like many other organizations, invited to apply for the support for the consultancy services. And so we attended the training program, how to pitch. And I think in the beginning, all of us who participated in the program were in the mind of using the PowerPoint and traditional techniques of just showing all the data and so forth. And I think the key part of the training was Alistair provided that you need to tell it in the form of a story. So most of us were not used to telling a story or narrating what the organization does or how it can benefit. So that kind of idea that conveying the story of an organization to funders, potentially giving examples of the real life experiences of people, was quite amazing. On a personal level, it's the awareness and the knowledge base, because personally for me, I'm completely novice in the sector. So it's been a matter of confidence building as well as the knowledge that has been gained. For the organization, just transferring what I've learned by going to various trainings, and also the staff becoming more confident in the things that they're doing, capturing data. Essentially is putting systems and into practice.
And what about the Greater Manchester Black and Minority Ethnic Network as a whole? Do you see it having a future, and what role would you play in that?
I think it has a tremendous future, really, and I was a bit saddened that it's going to come to an end, because I think it's been invaluable for the organisation like ours to tap into, and also get the resources that we need.
People often say, well, what makes a good mentor? The person who's giving the advice. But what about the organisations receiving the advice? What makes a good mentee?
It's an interesting question. And mentee, I think the critical asset is the time, being able to devote a lot of the things that you need to change, and mentee also being open and, if you want to say, is self-initiated, to be able to do a lot of the things that are talked about, discussed. For me on a personal level, I always refer back to the training programs and everything that I've attended as my University of Greater Manchester BME Network, because that's exactly what I've learned when I graduated.
First of all, tell me your name.
My name is Arfan Said.
And what organisation do you represent?
Well, I'm chairing Salford Interfaith Network, and I'm also co-chairing Salford Forum for Refugees and People Seeking Asylum. I'm also a core group member for LinkedIn. Well, I will talk about Salford Forum for Refugees and People Seeking Asylum. So we actually have a history of partnership working with the Greater Manchester BME Network, because they are the one who actually provided trainings to different members of the forum. So what happened with that? They got their confidence. Now they know how to influence the decision making. That it had made us confident in the community, and it also helped us to know our rights. And now you will see the result that we are working with councils, we are working with the schools, we are working with housing providers, we are working with Greater Manchester Police, and we are also in Salford Partnership Board now. So it doesn't happen in one day. It happened through the dedication and hard work of the forum, plus help from the Greater Manchester BME Network, which provided trainings. So Greater Manchester BME Network is a medium of connecting people from different boroughs. So what is good in Salford can be shared with other boroughs, and what is good in other boroughs can be shared with other boroughs. So Greater Manchester BME Network is a medium. I think the Greater Manchester BME Network has actually made a very solid foundation, which will be very difficult to dismantle now. But I think now the legacy is there. The people have got their power. They know how to do things by the trainings and by the meetings. I think it will continue, but it might need some support in future. How we will get it, we don't know about that. But the foundation is very, very, very strong.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
I'm Priscilla Nkwenti, and I'm the Chief Executive Officer for BHA for Equality. We used to be known as Black Health Agency. We were invited to become a mentor because, I suppose, of our experience over the years. We've been around for quite a while. The expertise we've gathered over the years, we were deemed to be one of the organizations that could provide mentoring for the smaller ones who are kind of like setting off on this journey, to grow and to develop. It's not just been about me, it's been about looking at the other expertise within my organization. For example, when they were doing their annual report and looking at their accounts, I did offer that my Director of Finance could help look at it just to make sure that they've done it the right way, to do some kind of auditing for them. Are the organizations that have come forward ready to take up mentoring, or are they still struggling with lots of other things? We've offered a lot of time, a lot of expertise. It's there for them to tap into. Whether they're ready to tap into that or they've utilized, that resource as best as they can, I'm not so sure. I have asked, one of the organizations I've supported, I've talked to them at length about how they capture the evidence of what they actually do. And I think that's been quite positive, because I identified quite earlier on when I met with them that it doesn't matter what you're doing, who you're doing it for. If you don't keep a record of what you're doing, you can't look back and see whether you've done it well, or you've not done it as well as you would have liked to do. But in this day and age, everybody who gives, funding likes to see the evidence, likes to see how you're keeping, track of what you're doing. And I did go to visit a few times to look at how they were doing that, who comes through the door, what kind of data they were capturing. I shared my experience of what kind of information is useful and all of that, and offered to help them to set up systems within the organization that would enable them to do that and do it well.
Have you learnt anything from the process?
We can advise, we can share our experience, but we can impose our own value system on other people's thoughts, ideas, and where they're coming from. Small organizations should think seriously about working closely with other organizations, not trying to be independent. We have to share, we have to identify what our strengths are, what our weaknesses are, who does other things better than us, who we can work with. Whether it's with a similar organization or similar size organization next door, but doing something else.
What do you think of the role of the Greater Manchester BME Network could be in assisting that? Would you say that the GM BME Network has a role to play in this, and how do you see the future of that network developing?
I'd see them as, being the hub, something like a hub for all these organizations out there that they can feed in and feed out. So they're kind of like sitting in the middle to support organizations to develop, to grow, to capacity build them to realize their potential.